Grand Rasengan! The blonde yelled as he and his clone slammed a ball of swirling chakra into the boulder and destroyed it in an explosion of power. Good work, kid. Want to start heading back home now? Or do you want to stay out here longer and learn a couple new jutsus? Jiraiya, the Toad Sage, asked. Knowing that Naruto would want to go see his friends, Naruto immediately went to say he wanted to go home. But for some reason, he hesitated. What's another month? I doubt anyone really misses me that much, Naruto thought in a slight depression. Early on in his training, he had sent letters back to his friends in Konoha. He didn't have much time, so he only wrote a few. To Sakura. Hey Sakura, Pervy Sage said that you're gonna start training with Granny Tsunade. Is that true? We've pretty much just spent the last 2 months meeting everyone in Pervy Sage's spy network. I gotta say, it's amazing how much you can learn from their methods. Anyway, how are you doing? Miss me yet? From Naruto. Naruto looked up at his sensei. I want to stay and learn some techniques, if you don't mind, sensei, he said, causing the Toad Hermit to blink in shock before he answered. Okay. Then, what should I teach you? What did the spies say? Do you know where Sasuke is? Are you going to get him back for me? Boom. Naruto scowled as the next boulder exploded. I pledged myself to her, and all she can do is ask for Sasuke. I already said I'll get him back. The least she can do is pretend that she cares, Naruto thought with a scowl. Jiraiya nodded. Very good, Naruto. Who knew you'd be a wind user, eh? Jiraiya rhetorically asked. Naruto nodded. Yeah, but now my new jacket is ruined, Naruto said as he looked down at his shredded sleeve that had become the way when his wind-style tornado fist ripped his lower sleeve to shreds. Jiraiya laughed. Looks like you need a new wardrobe, Naruto. Hey, Hinata. Sorry I kinda left without saying goodbye. Just wanted to say so now and ask what your plan is for the next few years. Oh yeah, and how's Neji going? From Naruto. To Naruto. Hinata is forbidden to communicate with someone of as low as a status as you. Hiyashi Hyuga. Wind-style tornado fist. Naruto yelled angrily as he slammed the nearly mastered move into the tree in front of him, imagining Hiyashi's face as the target. The wind jutsu in itself was completely invisible since it was just wind chakra, but even as the jutsu dissipated into wind, Naruto's clothes were being ruffled, as well as the leaves on the trees leaning away. Jiraiya nodded his head. Guess this was time well spent, huh, Naruto? Jiraiya said with a wide grin. Naruto looked down at his fist, which, as the cone shape dissipated, you bastard, Hiyashi, sending those assholes to beat me when I was a kid, and now not even letting me communicate with my friend, Naruto thought, as he almost had a small flashback to his painful childhood, remembering the Hyuga men and women who used to beat him before he shook his head. Refocusing on his training. Dear Kakashi-sensei. Hey sensei, just wondering how you're doing. It's been a while, huh? Anything new on your end? From Naruto. Wind-style Gale Palm Barrage. Naruto yelled as he finished his hand seals and began pushing one palm forward after another, knocking each and every airborne shuriken from its path. Jiraiya nodded. Good. Hello, Naruto. Sorry for the late reply. I've been placed back as an Anbu trainer while you're gone. I'm doing fairly well at the moment, and yes, I believe it's been nearly a year since you left. I can't wait to see you when you get back, but I have to cut our letters off here. I'm going undercover for a month or two, but don't worry. I'll write you as soon as I get back. Kakashi Hatake. Wind style. Great breakthrough, Naruto yelled as he spat out a large burst of wind that made even the thickest trees lean away from him. That was nearly a year and a half ago, but at least he seemed to care, unlike some people, Naruto thought as he panted heavily. Hey Shikamaru, not many people have gotten back to me, so sorry if it took me a while to send a letter to everyone. How are you doing? Training hard, I assume? From Naruto. Wind style, upgrade blade, Naruto yelled as his kunai was wrapped with wind chakra, making it the length of a sword and sharper than steel. Jiraiya threw a large rock at Naruto, who simply held up the kunai, cutting the rock into clean halves. Jiraiya nodded as he picked up another rock. Good. Now distance, Jiraiya yelled across the clearing as he threw it up in the air. Naruto focused more control through the kunai before throwing it, once more cutting through the rock with a ridiculous amount of ease. Hi Naruto. I can understand why they haven't. A lot of people are very busy since they are all training their asses off to become a Chunin. It's too troublesome to send these letters, so try someone else. Shikamaru Naru. How about other shadow clone techniques? Jiraiya asked. Naruto blinked. Huh? What do you mean? Naruto asked. Jiraiya smirked as he threw a shuriken. Shuriken shadow clone jutsu! Jiraiya yelled. Naruto grinned as he watched the one become 100. Let's begin, sensei. Dear Kiba. How you doing, man? I'll be heading back soon, and was just wondering how you and Akamaru are doing. From Naruto. Great clone explosion! The Naruto clone yelled before exploding with an intensity of 10 explosive tags. Jiraiya nodded as the smoke cleared to show a small crater. Very good, Naruto, he said with a grin. God, this place sucks. A tall, gangly being said from its place sitting on top of a boulder. Another being turned to him. Hey Ryuk, wanna come play cards with us? It asked. Ryuk glanced over his shoulder before standing. No, I'm gonna go have some fun, he said with a huge grin. What do you mean? I dropped my notebook again. The being and its friends sighed in annoyance. In the human world, again? Ryuk ignored them and chuckled as he flew towards a large swirling portal. I haven't been to the human world for some time. I wonder how it's changed. Naruto, you really should have a break. It's nearly 10 o'clock, Jiraiya said with a yawn as he looked up at the stars. Naruto breathed heavily and shook his head. Just a few more minutes. I'll be done soon, Naruto said. Jiraiya hummed. Alright, but you're leaving tomorrow morning, remember? I'll catch up with you after I do some research. Jiraiya said with a perverted chuckle. Naruto turned to him with a frown. Just go to bed, sensei, he said in an irritated tone. Jiraiya laughed as he walked from the clearing, presumably to his tent. Naruto turned away and straightened his outfit. He stood in his orange trousers, but now wore a black short-sleeved shirt with a zipper down the left side of his back, having a large pocket there instead of a jacket. His now orange headband worn like a belt. He began to form hand seals when he spotted something above him. He looked up to see a small black notebook falling past the moon, making the letters on the front cover glow in the moonlight. Death Note? The next morning, Naruto was walking home looking at the notebook in his hands. This is kind of ridiculous. I mean, how does it even work? Some weird jutsu? Naruto thought as he flicked through the pages, reading old names and thinking who he would have put there. So, you're the kid that found my notebook. Naruto turned around and his eyes widened as he fell onto his back. Who the hell are you? Ryuk grinned. My name is Ryuk, and I'm the Shinigami that dropped that notebook, he said, as he pointed to the book in Naruto's grasp. Naruto looked from Ryuk down to the book he was hugging to his chest. Shinigami? You're a god of death? Naruto asked in slight shock. Ryuk nodded. Yeah, and that's my notebook. Well, it was. Now, it's technically yours, he said as he landed on his feet and his wings melded into his back. Naruto nodded as he slowly stood. So, is it real then? It's not a joke? Naruto asked as he looked at the notebook he held out in front of him, his hands shaking. Ryuk nodded. Yeah, kid, tell you have a pen? Naruto asked, his whole body shaking as he held out his hand hopefully. Ryuk raised a brow. What's up with this kid? He thought as he chucked Naruto one of his skeleton pens. Naruto grasped the pen and dropped to the ground, opening the book to a blank page. He closed his eyes as he imagined his prey's face, and wrote the name of someone he knew he'd be able to find out about the moment he returned to the village. Hiyashi. Hyuga. Naruto stood to his feet, then tucked the pen in his pocket as he closed the notebook and held it close to him. He looked up at Ryuk. I'll know if it works for sure when we get back, he said before turning away and beginning walking again. Ryuk followed, curious about the boy's intentions. Naruto glanced back at him. Are you gonna continue following me? Naruto asked. Ryuk nodded. Yep, but don't worry, no one can see me unless they've touched the Death Note. Naruto nodded. Alright then, he muttered quietly, still obviously in shock as he reached behind the lower left side of his back and unzipped the pocket in his shirt, setting the notebook in it, and zipping it up. Naruto walked slowly for half an hour as he contemplated the power of the notebook. Ryuk following behind him with an expectant grin on his face. Hey Naruto. Naruto turned to his right to see Jiraiya jump down from the trees. You didn't get anywhere near as far as I expected you to. We gotta kick it into high gear if we want to make it by lunch like we planned, Jiraiya said. Naruto glanced at Ryuk and realized that Jiraiya really couldn't see him. Wow, I hope I'm not going crazy, Naruto thought as he nodded, making Jiraiya raise a brow at his odd quietness before he leapt into the trees, Naruto and Ryuk following behind him. Welcome back to the village, Jiraiya, the Chunin said with a grin as the gates of the village opened. Jiraiya and Naruto walked in, both with smiles that covered their faces, except Naruto was shaking slightly in anticipation. Jiraiya turned to Naruto and grinned, thinking the anticipation was for his return home. Go ahead, Naruto, Jiraiya said with a grin. Naruto was shocked at Jiraiya telling him to go ahead, but no way was he giving up the chance to leave, so off he ran, leaving Jiraiya behind in his dust, almost knocking over a pink-haired girl as he sprinted past her. She fell on her ass and stared after the dust cloud in shock. Naruto? Sakura asked to the thin air as Naruto continued running, Ryuk flying along behind him. After a few minutes, Naruto stopped before glancing around. This is the Royal District. Wait, he thought before running down a nearby alley. Ryuk chuckled at his behavior before landing in the mouth of the alleyway. Hey, Naruto, wasn't it? Ryuk asked. Naruto looked out from the shadows at Ryuk. Hold on, I'm just trying to find a way to find out if this worked without arousing suspicion. God knows everyone in this village wants me gone. If they found out about this, then I'm screwed, Naruto said, biting his lip in thought. Ryuk chuckled. Well, that ain't my problem. I just want to ask, why this Hiyashi guy, huh? Ryuk asked with a chuckle. Naruto scoffed with a shrug. He's an asshole, Naruto said with a slight smirk. Ryuk began cackling madly, causing Naruto to look up at the death god incredulously. Out of the way! Move! Naruto and Ryuk looked up in shock as 3 Hyuga men leapt across the alleyway towards the hospital. One of them carrying a seemingly unconscious man on his back. The two looked at each other before Naruto leapt up onto the roof, seeing the Hyuga symbol on the green tunic the dead man wore, causing Naruto to begin breathing heavily. Ryuk landed next to Naruto. "Hey, is that the guy?" Ryuk asked. Naruto stood silent before he turned, leaping across the rooftops towards his old apartment as Ryuk followed behind him. "Naruto, is that the guy?" Ryuk asked. Naruto slipped in the alleyway between his apartment block and Ichiraku Ramen before turning to Ryuk, a panicked look on his face. "I just killed a clan head," he exclaimed with wide eyes. "The moment that they find out it was me, I'm dead. Why the hell did you let me do that?" Naruto nearly yelled. Ryuk just laughed. "I don't really care about what you do, kid. And how are they gonna find out anyway, huh? The only evidence is his name in a book," Ryuk said with a chuckle. Naruto stopped cold as he thought over Ryuk's words. Does this book have chakra?" Naruto asked. Ryuk stopped laughing. "Chakra? What's that?" he asked curiously. Naruto glanced downward and thought. "Every living thing has chakra, but I guess if this doesn't even have a chakra signature, no one can track it," Naruto mumbled out loud as he turned away from the death god. Ryuk was about to speak up when Naruto spoke over his shoulder. "Ryuk, can you do me a favor?" Naruto asked. Ryuk raised a brow. "Why? What do I get in return, huh?" Ryuk said with a grin. Naruto turned part way around him before shrugging. "Fine, no favor. Just know that for the rest of today, I won't even acknowledge you exist, alright? I won't be leaving this village or anything within the next few days, so why don't you have a look around, see if there's anything that interests you," Naruto said before reaching behind his back and pulling out the Death Note once more. Ryuk chuckled. "Sorry, kid, I can't do that. Rules of the Death Note force me to stay nearby you at all times," Ryuk said as he floated behind Naruto, looking over his shoulder. "Who are you writing now?" he said. Naruto smirked as he held up the book for Ryuk. "See that shop owner there?" Naruto asked, pointing across the road to a fat man in the stall. "He used to hurt me a lot when I was a kid. Will this work?" Naruto asked. Ryuk smiled as he leant forward to read from the book aloud. "Lee Makeyuda, in 5 minutes from the end of the sentence, will commit suicide with a cleaver from his stand." Ryuk nodded. "Yeah, that's his name." "Why 5 minutes though?" Ryuk asked. Naruto put the notebook away as he walked from the alleyway. "Just watch. I can't talk to you now," Naruto whispered before ducking under the flags into his favorite shop. "Hello and welcome to Naruto?" Ayame asked with wide eyes as she looked at Naruto. Naruto grinned as he heard a commotion coming from the back room. "Naruto? Did you say Naruto?" Tayuchi asked as he came out the front. Naruto's grin widened. "Hey guys, how are you?" he asked with a laugh. Ayame reached over the bar, pulling Naruto into a hug over the bench top. "Naruto!" she exclaimed happily. Naruto laughed a little as he hugged her back before letting go and feeling a tight grasp around his shoulder from the old man. "It's good to see you guys. How have you been while I was away?" Naruto asked as he sat down. Tayuchi held his grasp on Naruto as if he was afraid to lose him. "We've been good, Naruto. What about you though? How is training with Jiraiya?" Tayuchi asked. Ayame nudged her father with her elbow. "Dad, he can't give us that information. It's like secret ninja stuff," she said quietly, causing Naruto to chuckle a little. Tayuchi pulled his hand back and smiled. "Oh yeah, sorry Naruto," he said before picking up a ladle. "What can I get you?" "First one's on the house," Tayuchi offered. Naruto grinned. "Awesome, in that case I'm gonna order a large seafood ramen," he said with a laugh that Ayame couldn't help but join in on. Naruto? Naruto's laughter abruptly stopped as he glanced over his shoulder. He sighed before looking forward at Ayame again, who was smiling before seeing Naruto's reaction to the person who had entered. "Hey Sakura, what do you want?" Naruto asked, not in a rude way, but not exactly friendly. Sakura smiled as she realized that she was in fact talking to Naruto. "Hey, you ran past me. When did you get back?" she asked as she took a seat next to him. Naruto glanced at her and smiled a little. "About 10 minutes or so ago. Sorry I missed you, Sakura, but I was really aching for some ramen," he said, causing Ayame to laugh a little. Sakura grinched her teeth together as she entered inner Sakura mode. "You idiot, I'm your teammate. You're supposed to notice me," she yelled as she shook her fist angrily. Naruto watched Sakura as his smile turned into a look that was a mix between shock, confusion, and slight disgust. "My god, did I seriously used to like her?" Naruto thought to himself. "Hey Naruto, it's time," Ryuk said as he sat on the bench on Naruto's other side. "Ah!" Naruto and Sakura span instantly, her eyes widening as she saw a man with a cleaver in his neck, while another civilian screamed, getting blood sprayed on her in fear and horror at the bloody display. In a second, Sakura was by the man's side, looking over the damage and the man's dead eyes to come to one conclusion. "He's dead," she whispered in sorrow as the civilian woman kept screaming. With everyone looking at the screaming civilians and the corpse, Ryuk was the only person to see Naruto's expression. A wide, gleeful grin slowly slid across Naruto's face as he watched the blood seep onto the road. Naruto bit his lip to hold in his chuckle before he closed his eyes to refocus himself. "What happened here?" the leader of the squad of Anbu said as he landed next to Sakura, his squad quickly moving to control the situation. Sakura stood sadly as she shook her head. "I don't know. I heard this woman screaming, so he just killed himself." The civilian screamed in fear as an Anbu placed a hand on the woman's shoulder, and the two disappeared in a shunshin. "Here you go, Naruto," Ryuji said as he stepped out from the back room of his shop. Seeing a huge commotion behind Naruto, he asked, "Huh? What's happening over there?" Naruto opened his eyes and showed a wide-eyed expression as he turned back. I'm not too sure, but by the looks of things, that guy just committed suicide," Naruto said with a heavy sigh before grabbing a pair of chopsticks. Ryuji sighed. "What is this world coming to these days?" he whispered to himself before walking into the back room again. Naruto snapped the chopsticks and heard a gasp. He looked up to see a horrified Ayame shaking in fear, causing Naruto's eyes to widen. "Ayame, are you okay?" he asked. Ayame continued shaking until Naruto reached over the bench and stood, grabbing her hands in his own and blocking Ayame's view of the dead man's face with his own. "Ayame," he asked softly. Ayame focused on Naruto, who began apologizing. "I'm sorry you saw that. As a ninja, I forget that normal people aren't used to these things," he said, with an honestly worried expression. Ayame's breath began to slow as she watched Naruto and his eyes and focused on the feeling of him holding her hands. "I've got you, Ayame. It's okay. I've got you," he said, smiling, as she seemed to stop shaking but still seemed very pale. Ayame nodded as some tears formed in her eyes. He just right in front of that woman. Why?" she whispered. Naruto swallowed, unsure of what to do, before he just raised his voice. "Ryuji, kind of an emergency. Please come out here," Naruto said over her shoulder without breaking eye contact. Ryuji came out in a few seconds, only to see Naruto holding his daughter's hand over the bar. "Naruto, Ayame, what's wrong?" he asked, not seeing the death, not realizing the trauma that his daughter had just gone through. Naruto spoke quietly but quickly. "Ayame saw the body. She'll need the rest of the day off." Ryuji's eyes widened before he faced Ayame head on. "Oh, Ayame, I'm so sorry," he said before hugging the girl. The situation caught up to her, and Ayame suddenly burst into tears and fell into her father's grasp, collapsing in a heap as Naruto was forced to let her go. Teiuchi seemed completely unsure of what to do, so Naruto told him to do what he wished someone could have done for him when he first saw death. "Teiuchi, look at me," Naruto ordered, his voice taking a commanding tone. Teiuchi looked up at Naruto, who was looking down at him with authority evident in his stance. "I'll close the shop for the day, take her home, and I'll be by when I'm done here. Hopefully she'll snap out of it within the next few hours, but if not, I'll go to the Hokage to organize a psych evaluation." Teiuchi took a few seconds before nodding and lifting Ayame to her feet before the two walked out the back of the kitchen to take the small walk to their house behind the shop, the girl crying all the way. Naruto fell back onto his stool and sat in silence for a moment before Ryuk talked. "So, coming to terms with the power of the notebook?" he asked with a silent laugh. Naruto glanced up and to his right at Ryuk, who was sitting on the bench top in front of Naruto. "Now, I just realized that I'll need to be more careful with the notebook," Naruto said quietly before he began to eat his ramen slowly now that it had cooled almost perfectly. Sakura fell into the seat next to Naruto. "Wow, that was weird, huh?" she asked, half smiling at Naruto, only for him to keep staring at his noodles as he ate. Sakura raised her brow. "Naruto sure is acting weird," she thought before realizing that the noodle hut was empty. "Naruto, where is everyone?" she asked. Naruto glanced at her from the corner of his eye. "Ayame saw the death," Naruto said simply before lifting his bowl and drinking the rest. Sakura raised a brow. "So?" she asked. Naruto placed his bowl down before looking at her incredulously. "You really need to explain to you why a perfect, normal young woman had to be looked after by her father when she saw a man that she'd see every day of her life suddenly kill himself?" Naruto asked rhetorically before grabbing his bowl and leaping over the bench, taking it to the sink before he made 2 shadow clones. Sakura frowned. "Hey, don't talk to me like I'm an idiot, Naruto," she shouted childishly as Naruto's clones began washing up. The blonde rolled his eyes, suddenly getting tired of Sakura talking to him when in the past he would have taken the abuse just to hear her voice. "Well, you did ask an idiotic question," Naruto said before leaping back over to land behind his stool. Ryuk laughed as a tick appeared on Sakura's forehead, causing Naruto to smirk slightly at the god's cackling. This, in turn, caused Sakura to be even more angered, and as it did in the past, out came inner Sakura. "Naruto!" she yelled as she threw a fist at Naruto as he passed by her. The blonde ducked the punch with minimal effort, causing Sakura to fall off balance and thus leading to Naruto catching her. "Sakura, are you alright?" he asked. Sakura suddenly realized she was looking up at Naruto, who was holding her in a position she always dreamed Sasuke would one day hold her. Naruto raised a brow as he noticed Sakura blush before she basically shoved him off her and stood on her own. "Get off, loser," Sakura said before walking out of the stand, causing Naruto to sigh as he too stepped out before shoving his head back inside. He looked over to his clones. "You got this?" he asked. The clones nodded. "Yeah, boss," they said in unison before Naruto glanced at Ryuk, raising a brow expectantly as if to say, "You coming?" Ryuk chuckled. "Oh, now you'll pay attention to me?" he asked before laughing, causing Naruto to frown as he stepped back, closing the shutter behind him and locking Ryuk inside with a padlock. Naruto smirked as he stepped back, about to talk to Sakura before Ryuk stuck his head through the shutter, causing Naruto to frown again. "He's intangible as well?" Naruto thought before turning to Sakura, who was standing with her arms folded, tapping her foot expectantly. Naruto smiled. "Sorry, Sakura, I guess I should have let you fall flat on your face," Naruto asked with a smirk. Sakura, who was getting rid of the mental image of Naruto's face being so close to hers, thought Naruto was asking jokingly, knowing that he'd never let her get hurt. Yeah, very funny, Naruto. Now come on, you should go see Tsunade, Sakura said before walking off towards the Hokage Tower. Naruto raised a brow before following after, listening calmly to Sakura as she talked about what she had learned in the past 3 years. I should have gotten Pervy Sage to train me more. She managed to learn an entirely new fighting style, numerous medical jutsu, and near-perfect chakra control. I only got a couple of wind techniques and more clones, Naruto thought with a sigh. Well, I guess my control did get a little better. Naruto glanced at Sakura, seeing she was still talking animatedly, but suddenly Naruto had to bite his lip from laughing as Ryuk was sniffing Sakura while floating along behind her. Ryuk turned to Naruto. Hey, this girl dresses like an apple, but she smells weird, nothing like apples at all. Ryuk seemed to complain before sneakily grabbing a single strand of her hair and yanking it out. Ow! Sakura yelled mid-sentence before turning away from Naruto, seeing nothing, even though Ryuk was laughing right in front of her. Naruto held back a laugh as he smiled a little. Something wrong, Sakura? He asked. Sakura rubbed the side of her head before turning back to Naruto with a frown. No, I guess not, she said before sighing. Anyway, we're almost here. Want to take the shortcut? She asked before running up the Hokage Tower's outer wall. Naruto let out a single laugh before glancing at Ryuk, who was spitting out Sakura's hair. Yuck, doesn't even taste like apples, he complained. Naruto let out a laugh before leaping after Sakura as he spoke to Ryuk quietly. If you like apples so much, I'll get some for you later, but we gotta check on Ayame first, alright? He asked. Ryuk grinned. Really? You'll give me an apple, just like that? He asked while rolling through the air, laughing in obvious joy. Naruto nodded before landing next to Sakura, who was waiting for him on the roof. This way, Naruto, she said as she jogged over to the door on the rooftop. Naruto easily jogged behind her. Coming, Sakura, he said as they ran down the single flight of stairs towards Tsunade's office, the door closing behind them. As they ran past a window near the door, Naruto halted, causing Sakura to pause and turn around. Hey, they put Tsunade's ugly mug on the mountain, he shouted a bit louder than he meant to as he pointed out the window at Tsunade's face. Feeling a sudden sense of danger, Naruto ducked to the side, dodging Sakura's punch before he ran past her. Don't talk about Lady Tsunade like that, Sakura yelled before chasing after Naruto. The blonde wind user quickly opened the Hokage's door and closed it in Sakura's face before stepping out of the way, sharing a quick smile with Jiraiya, who had turned to him as he entered. Bang! Sakura's first punch launched the door off its hinges and sent it flying just past Jiraiya's face straight out the window, smashing glass to rain down on the roof below the window. Sakura's expression went from angry to shocked and a bit scared as Tsunade stood from behind her desk. Sakura, what have I told you about breaking my stuff? Tsunade yelled, half amused and half annoyed. Sakura sputtered, but Lady Tsunade, it was Naruto's fault, she said timidly while pointing toward the blonde. Naruto just smiled. Hey Granny, how are you? He asked. While acting happy, Tsunade was about to address Naruto before she hesitated. He's hiding something. What's he hiding? She thought, seeing through Naruto's active happiness. Seeing that he wasn't bringing it up, she figured that he didn't want to talk around either Jiraiya or Sakura, so she took action. Well, Jiraiya, I'll get the rest of your intelligence report later. Sakura, go to Higarashi's ninja store and pick up a certain someone for me. He knows someone is coming for him, so don't worry. He'll be there and he'll find you, Tsunade said with a wave of her hand. Sakura nodded before stepping out of the room. Sorry about the door, Master, Sakura said before running down the hall. Jiraiya raised a brow at Tsunade before glancing at Naruto, but he didn't notice anything odd, so he just shrugged. Alright, see you at the test, Tsunade, he said before leaping out of the broken window. Naruto grinned as he walked over to Tsunade, who surprised him by standing and walking around her desk quietly, holding up a finger, telling him to wait. She came to a stop in front of him and smiled. "Two things," she started, before hugging him quietly and pulling back before he could say anything. "Welcome back, brat," she said with a smile. Naruto smiled quietly. Maybe she would have replied if I said something. I thought she wouldn't have time between training Sakura and being Hokage, but oh well, too late now, he thought as Tsunade grabbed his hand and pulled him into a chair at her desk. As Tsunade walked around to her side, she spoke a little seriously. "So, Naruto, what happened to make you so uneasy?" she asked. Instantly, Naruto was knocked straight back into how he felt as he left the ramen shop. Thing that has me a bit." He hesitated for a moment as he tried to think of the best word. Unsettled, I guess, would be that a civilian that I care about a lot just had quite a traumatizing experience, he explained. Tsunade raised her brow at Naruto's sudden vocabulary change. "Well, I guess that can happen over 3 years, she thought, before taking his words into account. "You've only been back for half an hour? What could have happened?" she asked. Naruto looked down at his hands, and when he looked back up, he noticed Ryuk sitting on the windowsill, looking out over the village with a grin, causing Naruto to sigh at both his situation and at the death god's antics. "Ayame just saw some stall owner commit suicide across the road from where we were," Naruto explained. Tsunade's eyes widened and she slid to her feet quickly. "Ayame? Not the girl from Teiuchi's ramen stand, is it?" she asked, obviously worried. Naruto was a little shocked at the Hokage's knowledge of the girl. "Yeah, Ayame is the old man's daughter. I just sent them home so that they can relax and he can look after her. I wanted to ask if you could check on them as well," Naruto asked hopefully. Tsunade nodded straight away as she grabbed her green jacket from its place on her chair. "Definitely, let's go now. Sakura will be back in about 20 minutes, Tsunade said as she put her jacket on. Naruto stood with a nod before Tsunade placed a hand on his shoulder, and the two disappeared into standard leaf shunshin, causing Ryuk to turn around. "Huh? What was that they just did?" he asked himself before looking out over the village again. "Great, now I have to find him," he grumbled as he stood, his wings growing out once more before he flew out over the village. Naruto opened his eyes to find him by Tsunade's side, right at Teiuchi's front door, as she was already reaching out to knock. How does Granny know where the Ichirakus live? He thought as Tsunade knocked quickly. A few moments later, Teiuchi opened the door. His shoulder had some tear stains on it, and he was holding his chef's hat in hand worriedly until he saw Tsunade and Naruto. "Lady Tsunade," he breathed in relief as he stepped aside. Tsunade shook her head as she stepped inside. "Stop calling me Lady Teiuchi. We're basically family," she said, causing Teiuchi to nod and Naruto's eyes to widen. "Where is she?" Teiuchi pointed down that hall, and Tsunade jogged before opening the first door and closing it behind her. Teiuchi turned back to Naruto and smiled softly. "Thanks for getting her, Naruto. She's the only woman Ayame really listens to anymore," he said weakly before he led Naruto over to a small couch. Naruto nodded slowly as he sat down. "Hey old man, how do you know Granny Tsunade?" he asked. Teiuchi looked at him in confusion. "Granny Tsunade? You mean Lady Tsunade?" he asked, receiving a nod in return which caused him to smile. "She is my sister-in-law. Tsunade married my older brother before he, passed on," Teiuchi said with a sad smile. Naruto blinked widely as he thought on the subject. "Wait, does that mean Shizune is your daughter?" he asked. Teiuchi shook his head. "No, she is my niece, daughter of the middle brother, Mokuba. She wanted to be a medic ninja like her uncle Don ever since Mokuba didn't come back from mission. Tsunade took her under her wing as well, he said before sighing once more. That's why I dropped out of the ninja business as well. Too much death, he whispered to himself as he shook his head. Naruto felt like he was just slapped. Wait a second, you are a ninja? Naruto asked in shock. Yuji smiled a little. Yep, I wasn't anything special, but I had a hand in training a team of ninjas when I was younger. Actually, I believe you are a friend of one of their sons. Shibi Aburame. Ring any bells? He asked. Naruto nodded. Whoa, you trained Shino's dad? He's a clan head, Naruto exclaimed. Teuchi chuckled and nodded. Yes, he is, Teuchi said before the sound of a door opening sounded. The two of them turned to see Tsunade walk out of the hallway with Ayame in a side hug. Sorry, I'm fine now, Ayame said, smiling a little bit as she looked from her dad to Naruto. Naruto nodded as he stood. That's good, I was really worried, Naruto said with a kind smile. Whoa, I didn't realize before. Those things are huge. Naruto's face twitched unnoticeably as Ryuk's head came out from the wall behind Tsunade. Look, that's just not right, Ryuk said with a cackle as he pointed at Tsunade's breasts. Ryuk grinned at Naruto's annoyed expression as Tsunade walked with Ayame over to the couch, sitting the girl down before turning back to Teuchi. I'll leave a clone here just in case, but Ayame is a strong girl. She'll be fine, Tsunade said with a smile. Ayame sighed. I'm right here, Tsunade, she said as if she were used to Tsunade and Teuchi talking as if she wasn't there. Tsunade smiled at Ayame and patted her head. I know, you're sounding better already, she said before forming a quick hand seal to create a shadow clone. Naruto felt mightily confused, considering the group of people he thought of as actual family were family. He just decided to follow Tsunade's lead and make a shadow clone of his own as Tsunade turned to him. You have to head back to my office, otherwise Sakura's trip would have been a waste, she said as she walked over to Naruto. Ayame tilted her head as she noticed the familiarity between Naruto and Tsunade. I didn't know you guys were that close, she said, looking much closer to normal but still a bit more pale than what was considered healthy. Naruto grinned and was about to reply as Tsunade threw an arm over his shoulders, realizing that his shoulder height was slightly higher than hers now. He's a brat, but he's my brat, she said with a laugh as her and Naruto's clone sat down in the remaining spots in the room. Naruto looked up at Tsunade with an obviously shocked expression. She actually considers me hers? He thought, suddenly feeling very emotional and very guilty about not writing to her. But in a sudden whirl of leaves, the two ninjas were gone. What the? Ryuk muttered to himself as he looked at the clone Naruto. Which one do I follow? How'd the kid do that anyway? He asked with a small grin. This new human world is interesting. This Naruto isn't as smart as Light was, but he can do some cool things, Ryuk thought as he floated through the wall, trying to find the original Naruto once more. A flurry of leaves fell to the floor as Tsunade let go of Naruto's shoulder. We'll go back to see them later, but I guess it doesn't really matter considering we left the shadow clones there, Tsunade said as she walked back around her desk. Naruto frowned. Yeah, I guess, but I still want to know if Ayame will be alright, Naruto said before sighing. Tsunade raised her brow as she fell into her seat. You will know. Tsunade hesitated for a moment before turning to Naruto with a curious expression. Wait, don't tell me you don't even know the main function of the shadow clone jutsu, she asked. Naruto grinned. Yeah, it's so I can outnumber and attack any enemy or enemies at once, Naruto said confidently. Tsunade smiled softly. While gathering any and all information, she said, continuing and finishing Naruto's statement of the clones. Naruto blinked widely. Huh? Gather information? He asked. Tsunade sighed as she shook her head. I can't believe this. You've been using this jutsu for so long, and yet you haven't noticed that you gain the conscious memory of each and every shadow clone you've ever made, she said, as she leaned back in her chair. Naruto blinked once more before he tilted his head and thought, I feel like I should be more shocked about this, but I guess it does explain a lot, Naruto said before scratching his chin in thought. Tsunade couldn't help herself as she took in Naruto's serious and thoughtful look. She burst out laughing. She laughed as she leant in her desk for support. Naruto blinked in confusion as Tsunade seemingly burst into laughter for a few moments before he heard a knock on the office door. Naruto turned with an expectant look as Tsunade began to regain control of her laughter. Come on in, Tsunade gasped between chuckles. The door opened and the first person to stick their head in was a smiling Sakura. Naruto, look who I found, she said as she opened the door all the way. Naruto's smile turned into a large grin as he saw the familiar mask. Kakashi-sensei! Naruto exclaimed. Kakashi's eyes smiled. Hey Naruto, how was your training trip? Kakashi asked as he walked up and placed a hand on the seated Naruto's shoulder. Naruto grinned up at him before he really started to think about his training trip. After a little hum of thought, Naruto's thoughtful look turned to a smile once more. Well, Sensei, one thing I can definitely say about is that it was a real eye-opener, Naruto said with a smile. Kakashi blinked as he saw through Naruto's mask. Wonder what he meant by that, Kakashi thought before Naruto stood. Undoing the zipper on the back of his shirt, Naruto pulled out a little green book. Here, Sensei, I thought you might want this, Naruto said as he held it out to Kakashi. Kakashi's lone eye widened as he received the novel. Naruto, is this? Kakashi started as he began shaking with excitement while opening to the cover page. Naruto nodded with a grin. Yep, Pervy Sage's next book. It's not coming out for like another 2 months, but this is a special order for you, Sensei, Naruto explained as he stood facing Kakashi, zipping up the zipper along his back. Since Tsunade was behind him, she got a quick glance inside the zipper and saw 2 rows of simple storage seals. Naruto, what are those seals inside your shirt pocket? She asked. Naruto turned to Tsunade as Kakashi was momentarily paralyzed in excitement. Pervy Sage put them in for me. 3 for kunai, 3 for shuriken, 1 for my tent, another for my backpack which is filled with all the basic essentials, and the other 2 are for me, Naruto explained. Sakura was curious about the new Naruto, so she asked, What do you mean the last 2 are for you? What do you have in them? She asked. Naruto was silent for barely a second, too long before he smiled softly. At the moment, nothing, but one of them did have Kakashi-sensei's book in it. I'm hoping to find a weapon I could specialize in or something for the last pocket, Naruto explained. With Naruto once more facing Kakashi and Sakura, Tsunade didn't notice the hidden emotion on Naruto's face, and since Kakashi was enthralled with his book and Sakura was not as observant, he went unnoticed with his little white lie about where he kept the Death Note. At Sakura's nod, Tsunade cleared her throat, getting everyone's attention. Kakashi, I do believe you have a little something for the 2 of them, Tsunade asked with a smirk. Kakashi's book snapped shut, and he placed it in his weapons pouch as he looked between Naruto and Sakura. I will be at our old training grounds, Kakashi started as he pulled out 2 bells and clipped them to his belt. Same rules as last time. Remember? Kakashi asked with an eye smile. Sakura grinned as she pulled a pair of gloves from her ninja pouch. Oh yeah, this'll be interesting. You ready, Naruto? Sakura asked. Naruto nodded with a smirk. As ready as I'll ever be, Naruto exclaimed. Kakashi eye smiled once more. Well, you guys better get moving, Kakashi said, before holding a single seal. Poof! Sakura quickly leapt through the broken window to land on the roof outside. Come on, Naruto. So long, Master, she said before leaping off of the Kage Tower. Naruto smiled to Tsunade. See you later, Granny, he said before hesitating. Are you going back to check on Ayame later? He asked. Tsunade smiled and nodded. I'll wait until you come here, then we'll head over together, she said with a small chuckle. Naruto grinned and nodded. Okay, thanks, Granny, he yelled before jumping out the window and straight through the just arrived Ryuk. The Shinigami turned as Naruto fell through him and began descending towards the ground. Hey Naruto, stop leaving me behind, yeah? It's hard to keep up with all that teleporting you were doing with that grandma of yours, Ryuk complained as he fell through the air next to Naruto. The blonde landed on a nearby rooftop and began leaping after Sakura, who was out of earshot but within eyesight. It's called a Shunshin, Ryuk. Now come on, I want to show you what chakra is and what it can do, Naruto exclaimed before speeding up more. Ryuk cackled as he flew along behind Naruto. What is this chakra stuff he keeps going on about? He thought as he watched Naruto leap across whole roads and up to 10 meters in the air. Really should have paid more attention to the human world. I wonder if that chakra lets him and those others do these weird tricks, Ryuk thought as his grin widened. Naruto landed next to Sakura a few moments later, opposite Kakashi, who had just placed his book away once more. Well, I do believe it's time, Kakashi said. Naruto smirked. What, no reading this time, Sensei? Naruto asked. Kakashi? I smiled. Not a chance. Actually, I have a feeling that I may need to get serious, Kakashi proclaimed as he pulled up his headband, before clapping his hands together. Now, start! Kakashi yelled. Poof! The area went quiet as Naruto and Sakura looked around for Kakashi. Sakura looked in each direction. Not left, nor right, not above, behind, or in front. Sakura thought before smiling. She pulled on her gloves. So, that leaves only one place, she thought, as she pulled her fist back. Boom! Naruto fell off balance as Sakura's punch uplifted the ground to reveal Kakashi sticking out of the ground. Found you, Sensei, Sakura proclaimed before running at Kakashi to face him in taijutsu. Kakashi quickly pulled himself free and began dodging all Sakura's attacks. If I get hit once, I'm done for, Kakashi thought as he dodged a wide punch and sweep kicked Sakura. As the pink head fell to the ground, Kakashi leapt back just as Naruto's Shadow Clone came over him. Shadow Clone Jutsu! Naruto yelled. Kakashi looked up and entered a sudden fight against 30 Narutos, using his agility to move between them and hopefully confuse them. But he hadn't counted on Naruto's next technique. Suddenly, hearing popping noises from behind him, Kakashi turned to see the Shadow Clones quickly being destroyed as Naruto's kunai neared them. Kunai Shadow Clone Jutsu! Kakashi quickly leapt high into the air as the area was demolished by the uncountable amount of kunai. Whoa, that would be enough to nearly wear me out in a single jutsu. Naruto really does have huge chakra reserves, he thought as he sailed through the air. Kakashi turned in midair to see Sakura aiming a punch at him, only for it to impact a simple log from the substitution jutsu. Kakashi smirked. Your taijutsu is good, Sakura. And Naruto, your ninjutsu has lots of power, but come on, show me what you really got, Kakashi said as he leapt back towards the river while forming hand seals. Naruto glanced to his side as Sakura arrived next to him, and seeing as she was seemingly waiting for him to do something, Naruto began forming hand seals. Kakashi finished his technique as he yelled, Water style, water dragon jutsu! The large dragon made from water began to form before it dove at Naruto and Sakura, just in time since Naruto took a deep breath. Wind style, great breakthrough! Naruto yelled as he focused the jutsu forward. The water dragon made contact with the wall of wind and it was pushed back, raining water on Kakashi as his clothes were ruffled from the wind. But he just made another set of seals. Earth style, mud bomb jutsu! Kakashi yelled before slamming his hands on the ground. 2 huge boulders of mud flew at both Naruto and Sakura. If it was any boulder, Sakura could have easily punched through it, but she was having some doubts since it was mud. Luckily for her, Naruto stepped forward as 2 Shadow Clones appeared seamlessly by either of his sides. Rasengan Barrage! Naruto yelled as he sent his 2 clones forward to destroy the mud bombs. Just as the Rasengans expanded, the mud bombs were destroyed, and Naruto and Sakura were able to see Kakashi finish more hand seals. Fire style! Fireball Jutsu! He yelled. Sakura quickly leapt over Naruto. Heaven kick of pain! She yelled as she slammed her heel into the ground. A chunk of rock lifted up from the kick, which the fireball connected with, giving them time to spread out as Naruto sent a clone with Sakura to explain his plan. Kakashi's eyes were narrowed as he held the last seal of another jutsu, while watching the dissipating smoke. What are they up to? He thought before seeing movement to either side. Sakura appeared from the smoke and went to engage him in taijutsu, so Kakashi let out his jutsu. Water style! Water bullet jutsu! Kakashi yelled before spewing forth a large bullet of water. Wind style! Gale palm! Kakashi's eyes widened as Naruto used his jutsu to knock the water bullet from midair, giving Sakura direct access to Kakashi, who quickly went on the defensive, trying to evade each of her punches. But to Kakashi's sudden shock, Sakura dropped all technique and jumped at him, so he acted on instinct and punched her in the face. Poof! Kakashi's eyes widened as he realized one of Naruto's clones, along with the transformation jutsu. Kakashi realized before turning to face as he was running at him. Kakashi kept his Sharingan trailing on Naruto, as his other eye quickly shot to the side to see his shock and horror that Sakura had managed to pick up and throw some large boulders from her earlier kick. Kakashi quickly formed hand seals. Raikiri! Kakashi yelled as his signature jutsu sparked to life, and he began using it to destroy the boulders heading towards him. Tornado Fist! Kakashi spun around with wide eye to see Naruto leap at him while throwing forward his seemingly average punch, but Kakashi's eyes widened as his Sharingan picked up something. Holy shit, that's a lot of wind chakra, Kakashi thought, as he pulled his lightning blade between himself and Naruto, holding it as a shield so as to not harm Naruto. Naruto's cone of wind chakra collided with the lightning blade, and unlike his Rasengan, these strings of chakra were made to be sharp and thick, not rounded and thin. This caused the two to slowly get pushed further apart while still staying in the deadlock of their elemental chakras. Kakashi smirked under his mask. Naruto, you sure have grown strong, Kakashi thought before he decided to end their little power play. Kakashi turned his wrist, a simple movement giving him the edge to slowly push through Naruto's wind cone. But Kakashi's arm was beginning to get cut up, and the closer he got, Kakashi was confident when he got close enough, he would put Naruto in a genjutsu to trap him. But when he did get close enough, he would put Naruto in a genjutsu to trap him. But when he did get close enough, the first thing he noticed was a smirk before a blinding flash of chakra came from Naruto's navel. Great clone explosion! Naruto yelled before he exploded violently. Kakashi's technique was disrupted, and he was thrown back towards Sakura, who took the opportunity to leap forward and throw a super-powered punch at him. But Kakashi's Sharingan picked up on the movement, and he quickly took action, even though he was still getting burnt and he could barely hear. Kakashi moved his arm in a sloppy evasion that helped him place a hand on Sakura's wrist, pulling himself over her as his hearing began to come back. But as he passed over Sakura's head and began to turn so that he could land back to back with her, he saw where the real Naruto had been waiting. Crunch! Naruto's knees crunched into the side of Kakashi's jaw, knocking the Jonin back over Sakura and onto his back. Naruto's eyes widened as his hit landed. Shit, I thought he'd dodge, Naruto thought as he dropped at Kakashi's side worriedly, only for Kakashi to fall into a pile of mud. Naruto's eyes widened as he looked up at Sakura for an explanation to see her staring forward with a blank expression. Ah, damn it, Naruto yelled as he jumped to his feet and focused chakra into his hand. Placing his hand on her shoulder, Naruto disrupted the genjutsu with the pulse of chakra. Sakura's eyes refocused before her eyes widened as she looked over Naruto's shoulder. Naruto, she yelled. He dropped to his knees as he formed hand seals while Sakura punched forward. hitting Kakashi's guard directly and launching him over 20 meters away. Even though he was using chakra to stick down safely as well as strengthen his arms. Kakashi lowered his guard and went to form a jutsu as Naruto stood. Wind style, Gale Palm, Naruto yelled as he thrust his hand forward. Kakashi sent more chakra to his arms to block, but the invisible attack caught him off guard by hitting his hip. Kakashi's eyes widened as he looked down, seeing the Gale Palm had ripped the bells free and brought them off towards the Naruto clone in the distance. He quickly turned to intercept the clone from returning the bells to the original, but he had expected the wrong tactic. Instead of the clone just grabbing the bells, it caught them before blowing on them secretly before it simply pitched them at Naruto and Sakura. Kakashi saw the chakra surrounding the bells. It'll hurt when I catch them because of the wind chakra, but I'll still win this, Kakashi thought, as he began running to intercept the bells. Sakura yelled as she punched the ground, causing a small quake that put Kakashi off balance just as the bells flew past him. The Naruto clone dispelled, and with its dispersion, its technique collapsed, causing the wind chakra to disperse and leave the bells floating a few centimeters from Sakura and Naruto for a few seconds. Kakashi looked up and sighed as Naruto and Sakura caught the bells. They've both grown. I can't believe how fast, he thought, as he got to his feet, rubbing his sore arms as he walked over to the two happy teammates. Sakura was jumping for joy and cheering in excitement, while Naruto was grinning widely while looking down at the bell in hand. He clenched his fist around the bell as he looked up at the sky, seeing Ryuk sitting at the top of a tree. I've changed. For the better, he thought, as his grin turned into a small smirk when he pocketed the little bell to keep. When Kakashi got close enough, the three began to talk happily. While up in the tree, an overly excited Ryuk was chuckling. Whoa, these humans have really evolved from their feeble abilities of the past, Ryuk said out loud before he started laughing maniacally. Naruto glanced up at Ryuk as his laughter echoed, causing Naruto to smirk as well. Things are gonna be interesting, that's for sure.